So in the last video, I had just gotten the brake drums turned for this car, but we didn't actually put them on and tell you whether it worked or not, and sort of left you hanging, but not intentionally. It was more of a timing issue because we still wanted to get a video out on Sunday like we normally do, and I wasn't going to actually be able to work on it again until Monday. And as it is, we were pretty late getting the video out because we had other things going on over the weekend and I couldn't work on it. And it turns out there were more issues anyway, so if I'd have tried to finish it up, we still wouldn't have had a video. So when I got the drums back, I made the assumption, and you know what that word can do to you, that they were properly machined and everything would be just fine. Well, it turns out they weren't, but we also had some issues with some stack tolerances and maybe a brain fart or two. But when we put the drums back on there, we still could not get an adjustment, and it was really, at best, marginally better than what it was before. So this isn't actually one of the brake drums we were dealing with, but first potential brain fart on my part here was, usually before I take any drums in anywhere or rotors or anything to have it turned, in the rare instances I do, I usually make sure this surface is really, really clean along with this surface. You know, get a 4.5 inch grinder with a wire wheel on it and just clean it off. Take it all the way down to bare metal, because if there's any kind of dirt, rust, or even multiple layers of paint where you maybe have paint had been flaked at one time and sprayed over again, and there's some bits of paint that are thicker than others, that can actually throw off the machine a little bit when they put it in the brake lathe if the operator doesn't do his job. Now, the first job he's supposed to do is to make sure these are clean. And if he doesn't make sure these are clean, when he clamps it up in there, whatever is underneath the clamp here, when they put the cup here and here, it's going to throw the drum off to where it's going to wiggle just a little bit in the machine. It may not be noticeable to the eye, but it could make it wiggle a little bit, and then when they cut it, it will introduce runout into the drum. So even if the drum is spinning perfectly true, the actual braking surface will actually be wobbling back and forth just a little bit, and that is exactly what we had here. He hadn't cleaned this off at all, and there were multiple layers of paint from the owner painting the drums years ago, which threw it off. Now, the place I originally took it to, the guy that used to do the drums and rotors, he was actually really good and really detail-oriented, but he doesn't work there anymore. And the guy that's doing them now obviously isn't as detail-oriented. And like I said, I didn't make sure that I did my part to ensure that he does his. So what I ended up doing, I ended up calling my brother actually and asking him if they have a brake drum at his work. He does maintenance. They only work on their own stuff, not for other people. And he said, yeah, they actually had bought a brake lathe not too long ago. Go ahead and bring them on over. We'll check them up, see what they look like, see if that's your problem. Verified. Absolutely, that was our problem. So once I got that straightened out, we were back to the shop and moving on to the next step. So backtracking just slightly, if you remember, we had used a set of really old stock shoes on here, and they were a bit wavy. And when I threw the drums on there, I suspected that there still might be some issue with them. And I was getting some interesting, wear patterns. Plus, these were squealing, making a lot of noise. So I said, well, I'm just going to put it aside for the moment and wait for the new shoes to come in that I had ordered, because these are the Moss shoes here, and I've never had them give me any squealing or anything. So I said, let's wait for these, and then we'll go pick it up from there. So once the new shoes arrived, I went ahead and swapped those out, put the new ones on, put the drums on there, and it really wasn't noticeably better. Maybe a marginal, but nothing to get excited over. And while I'm messing with the adjustment, that's when it hit me that, hey, the outside surface of the drum had never been cleaned, and maybe the drums weren't nearly as square as I thought they were, and then that's when I went on chasing all that and getting that sorted out. But once that was sorted out, put some drums on here, and it only got marginally better. It still wasn't what we wanted. Improvement, but not enough of an improvement. So what I ended up doing was bolting the wheels on, started the car, put it in gear, and let them run, and watched them from the back side, and realized that on both sides the wheels were wobbling fairly noticeably. So I'm like, maybe we got a bent axle or something that we're actually dealing with. So tear it all back down again and check for runout. So I got my old dial indicator out, but then I was like, well, how do you actually connect this thing somewhere to be able to get on the face of this? Well, I just happen to have a couple of these lying around. These are actually notcher blades. So we used to use these at my old work for jigging up stuff 90 degrees square to weld things out. So we just put one of those on here and clamp it right to the spring. So that gives me a nice base to actually connect the magnetic base to here and get this over to get it just inside these holes here to actually check my run out. And what I ended up with was 5 thousandths on this side of the car and 10 thousandths on that side of the car. And that's pretty close to the axle center line, so that's not good. So then I pulled the hubs off, get them out of the way, and run it right on this flat spot right here on the axle, just between the threads and where it comes out to the splines. And I found that I had about, I think it was 2.5 thousandths on this side and 3 on the other. And so that means the axles aren't quite exactly straight. But if the hubs aren't quite exactly straight either, a little bit of run out, if you match them just right, maybe we could get a pretty good number. So we put the hub back on, tighten it down, check it, and then pull it back off, turn it like 1 or 2 splines, put it back on, check it, and keep doing that all the way around until we get the best number possible on both sides. I was able to get this one down to, I think it was about 3, but I couldn't get the other side any more than 5. So I swapped them side to side. Let's try it that way, see what we come up with. I got this side down to about 2, or no, the other side down to about 2 thousandths. But then with the other side hub on this side, the best I could get was 7. So I figured I need some more hubs. And I couldn't find any around here, but I just given an axle assembly to a friend of mine who ended up not using it because water had gotten into it. So I said, hey, can I come get those hubs real quick? And then he also gave me another set of hubs. So I had 4 more to play with. Put a hub on there, and I was able to get this side down to about 2.5. I said, well, 2.5 and 2, that's probably going to be as close as we can get it, and it should be at least a huge gains from what we had before. And I remember during this whole process, this car has never, ever had a great pedal. And the fact that they got so much run out in the axles is why. But this guy's been driving it for 30 years like that, and he doesn't even notice that the pedal isn't as high and as quite as solid as a normal B. It's just what he's used to. So he's never complained about it. So I even went as far as go ahead and bolt the hubs on, or the drums on here. I put some washers behind there and run them down, make sure they were pulled down nice and good, nice and tight, and check the surface of the drum as well to be able to put them in the best position possible, which is why I have a mark here, to show the least amount of run out and the best feel within the brakes we can get. It's still not perfect, but it should be at least as good or probably better than anything this car's ever had in the last 30 years this guy's been driving it. Now, I went ahead and driven it a little bit, put drums on it, and we're just at that point where we've got a pretty decent pedal, at least as good as he had before, And now once the shoes finish conforming to the drums, to the point where we can go up one more click on the adjustments, it should be just fine, and he'll be happy with it.